What's up, everybody? Josh and Joe here from RamRods Archery. You are watching Follow Through. Our guest today is Marie Harashkova, who just finished winning the World Championships in Berlin, and we're going to break down those matches with her and get to know her a little better. Thank you for making time to be here with us today. I know you're very busy with a lot of other media tours going on and podcasts and interviews. How is life since winning the World Championships? Anything different?
For me personally, nothing is different, but the world around a bit changed because I'm in eye with everybody. Yesterday I went to post office and the woman who gave me the letter, she was like, "Hey, I know you." So
if the mailman knows you, that's impressive.
Yeah. So it was kind of weird, but very nice to me. And thank you for inviting. And I'm excited for this podcast.
Awesome.
For sure. Yeah, welcome. And yeah, we're happy to be able to catch up with you too. We've tried to make a point of connecting with our athletes as much as possible. Sometimes we'll have live streams where we're able to chat with them. But our team is pretty large, so there's a lot of people to talk to. But podcasts like this give us a real good chance to catch up with people. And obviously it's a special occasion as well because of your great performance recently.
Yeah, so you've been competing on the World Cup circuit now since about 2016, right?
Yes.
And is this your first individual medal at a World Cup or World Championships?
Yes, totally.
Wow. So how does it feel having gone quite a long time and obviously having a very good career and a lot of good ranking round scores too? I know I've seen you've shot as high as a 670 in a ranking round at an international event, but no individual medals till now. So that's a lot of determination sticking with it to get to this point. But then you didn't just start out with a bronze or maybe just a podium at a World Cup. You won the whole thing. So what was different about leading up to this event that you think put you in that position?
I think previously, I knew I can shoot good qualification, but then something I was missing, like mental game, easy, that I couldn't pass all the eliminations. But I've learned and experienced a lot from the past, and I think everything paid off in Berlin. Like this season was special for me because like everything went slowly but surely. Like I've started first World Cup ending in the first round, second World Cup ending in second round, and in Colombia I finished in the third round. But then were European Games and I was feeling good and I know that I was prepared. But then, archery is not easy and even a little thing, you will pay a lot because of it. So I lost in quarterfinals with special archer, Elia Canales from Spain. And then I realized that I think that I belong to be in the top in Europe. And that boosts my confidence and my mental game also for the World Championship in Berlin. And the biggest pray for me in Berlin was to get the spot for Olympic qualification. And the path is done. You had to have medal to get the Olympic spot. So, but my goal was to be in the top 8. I also wanted to finish in top 8 in qualification because there it's easier way because you passed to elimination rounds, you have buys. But it was very challenging, like all the week with the weather and everything. And we were discussing with all other archers that qualification at the end wasn't that bad, that we were expecting worse. But first round was like, I wasn't satisfied. I knew I failed in few ends. And then we went out with my father because he's coaching me. And I said, hey, but I wanted to finish in the top 8. And he told me, well, listen, there are like just few points to get there. So keep going and you can make it. And then I was like, well, then second half, new beginning. So let's go. And it ended up like that, 7th place. So I was like, yes, first point is done. So prepare for the next one. And there was one day, like half a day off, because there were mixed teams and I didn't have any women team. So I was preparing for the first 2 matches which I had, and I think I got a bit luck back that I missed in past years, and I went through the quarterfinals, and then 2 days off. Like I was practicing, but it's not the pressure that you're not when you're not competing. And every street I was walking, I was setting up my mind. And first of all, I was preparing for the first match because it matters the most. Also, like a Korean girl was waiting for me, but I didn't want it to be afraid of her, because I know when you are on the stage, it's a bit different shooting than the previous eliminations. And like the game is open and you have to be at this time, at that moment, and show your best.
Yeah, so that's a lot of good stuff. So you described getting confidence earlier in the year from your training, from your finishes, getting more used to the idea that you belong on the podium, that you deserve or are just as good as a lot of those top athletes who are getting medals. And then in particular during this tournament, having the time and the focus to, number one, kind of setting different goals. Like I feel like there were a lot of athletes who maybe even had better performances than usual because, like you're saying, they're trying to get quota spots in addition to finish. So it's kind of like they're trying to help their country, to help their team. And that, I think, is a different mindset for archers, because a lot of times there is a very individual focus and maybe a little bit too much attention turned on like, what do I want to achieve? Or is this all about myself versus the kind of team and the environment and the country? And obviously the Olympics have that as well, but I like the idea of like quota spots being, well, I just want to make it to the top 8 or the top 4 or get a medal, just to kind of get that over the line in addition to shooting as well as I can for my own benefit. So I think those are healthy things to kind of recognize that there's a lot of different goals going on in a tournament, and each of them can complement each other and help the performance. But yeah, the other thing too that stuck with me a lot is like you're saying, the visualization in between matches or at a location and kind of preparing yourself. So when you talked about thinking about these matches or thinking about your upcoming opponents, was there anything in particular you were trying to focus on, as far as, like you mentioned, kind of just comfort and not being afraid of a particular opponent, but what else did you do that made you feel more confident, more relaxed, more like you could shoot the way you wanted to?
I think for me works the visualization about the environment there, and to know also, like I'm experienced from Tokyo, that I know I was a bit scared because of all cameras around, and how is it like big show. But on the other hand, I get to like it, and that's also like the point that my goal was, I just want to shoot at the podium because it's so different and so amazing. I don't know, like I got a question, how do you prepare yourself to be in the flow thing about the mental game? And I said, well, I'm questioning this myself. Don't have the answer yet, because it's a lot of things that have to match. And at the end, it's just the game at the moment. And the person who asked me this told me, well, I can make you feel better because no one on this planet know how to go to the flow directly. So it's like that. But maybe I had a barrier with other athletes, that I thought that medal or like to win the match belongs to them, because like they are better. But on the other hand, I'm listening from my very good friend, hey, please, can you once allow yourself to be good, like to success something? And I said, yeah, that's the thing. And maybe I hit the point finally that I allowed myself to show also to myself that I can finish something what I began.
I think that's a good lesson, the concept of letting yourself be good, because a lot of times archers want to try to force this high level performance or force getting in the zone or getting in that flow state. And in reality, it is a lot more of a sensitive balance of doing all the work to make yourself capable of shooting those scores. And once you've done it in practice, you know you can do it. But then it really becomes a combination of trust. It's the right day. You're having more fun. There's a little bit more confidence there, and there's no one secret to it. It's a very delicate balance to get into, but it's awesome that you were able to pull that all together at such a critical time. And what better time than the World Championships to have it all work out?
That's true.
And I hope that you got some sort of feeling that you can return back to that point in the future too. It's easier to get back once you've done it once, I think.
Yeah, sure. Like maybe just notice what you have done, what you were feeling, and get another experience. But have to say that more experienced you are when you fail than when you win something. Because when you win, you're just happy. Maybe you don't know how you won. But when some failure comes, then you have to think why, what happened, and like to find the point why it didn't end up well. So I think the failure is better lesson for future.
Yeah, and I think with such a difficult sport like archery, there's no shortage of failures and trials and tribulations to help teach us. Like you said, nobody knows for sure how to get into a flow state. But I will say that we can all probably agree we know a lot of things that'll get you out of it. So I think that there's a lot of lessons along the way to be able to say, okay, I know that thinking about tournaments, competition, myself, my shooting in these ways is really detrimental, or just not helping me get to the next level. But likewise, things like preparation, like experience, those are things that start to have the right ingredients to be able to allow you to get in a flow state or a confident, playful state, a very present state more often. And once you start kind of fine-tuning that balance of things, of saying, hey, like, let's think about things in this framework that makes me feel more positive and more present with myself and my own skill and confidence, and then getting rid of some of those other things, like that all starts to, I think, get the likelihood that you're having fun, you're shooting at your very best level, you're capable of, the odds that starts happening more regularly are very high. And even if you're not on, like you're not doing great, your level's probably still going to be a lot better. So yeah, I would think that a lot of people can take those lessons of there's no system that somebody has found that once you're a medalist, and even if you're a stoic, very, very good Korean archer, there's no secret that everybody else is trying to find out. They're human, just like all the rest of us, and they train hard, and they have a lot of, experience and competitors to choose from to make these teams. But we're all the same kind of when it comes down to it. And if we can have fun and compete, then we can do some special things. So yeah, that's exciting for us to watch, because yeah, there's a lot of great stories that we feel came out of the World Championships, and yours was definitely one of them. Of yeah, just getting in the groove and continuing.
I totally agree with your opinion, because like everybody is just a human, and we have to realize that. Also, I had this that I mentioned before, that I was feeling some bubble around the people. And plus one thing, in Czech Republic, we have to change the mindset, because like you're not winning the competition with qualification, you're winning with eliminations. And that's also in the elimination different mindset a bit. It's different timing, different amount of arrows. Everything is more changeable than in the qualification. And our system is a bit changing now for the younger ones, but I have to went through by myself, and it took me few years to realize, and that's maybe why I had good qualifications. I was super confident in it, but then eliminations came, and I was like, well, couldn't make fourth round done, so that's also what I was working on a lot.
That's interesting. So definitely, so you're saying not only just from your own training, but almost from an institutional perspective, like the different mindset about how do you train to be good in qualification, which if I'm trying to maybe riff on that a little bit, is probably a lot more of just a lot of volume of arrows, keep your pacing quick, just start to let those arrows group really well, and then just do that over and over again until you can start to shoot 660s, 670s or higher. But individual eliminations, every arrow feels different. I mean, how would you describe kind of shooting a match in a different way than a ranking round?
Well, you just have the higher stakes per arrow. So I think learning to let the rhythm and flow happen in a ranking round is kind of the first step. And then the next step is bringing that same confidence and comfort and rhythm into the matches and acting like it's not that important, or not letting that importance affect your process, even though it is very important, way more important.
And then maybe, after qualification, if there are a lot of competitors, you're out after first day. But when you're shooting pretty nice average, you're sure that you won't be out of the competition after qualification. But with every single arrow you're shooting in elimination, you have to calm down the afraid of losing, or that every arrow matters a lot. And when you shoot also just on the training, like just 3 arrows, like it happened to me that I was asking myself, hey, you're normally shooting 58 in qualification. Why is a problem to shoot 3 arrows to the yellow ring? Like, why? So maybe that's also the point, because you need to shoot over 28 for sure to have the little chance that you get 2 points. And also all of us know archery that even if you're shooting 29, 28, you can fail 6-0. So that's the game.
Yeah. I'm curious to hear a little bit more about your dad's influence on your archery career. You mentioned that you were talking with him, and is he actually your primary coach, or just sometimes is coaching you?
No, it's primary coach.
Primary coach, okay.
Since ever.
So I know the dynamic of having a parent coaching their own child can be a little bit complicated for some people. And maybe that's just a problem here in America, but I know plenty of kids who've been like, had their parent as their primary coach, and there can definitely be a lot of frustration there and some tension there. And sometimes it works really well, and that's ended up producing someone who makes an Olympic team, but sometimes it can be really complicated. So how has your experience been with that?
I'm from archery family. My mom was also archer, and she was also Olympian from Beijing 2008. And my father was shooting his whole life. And I think it also helped me that they had their career and they just want to support the kid. They don't want to go through the child to be successful. So that's one thing. And well, we're not living together. Like, my parents were divorced when I was 10, so maybe it will sound weird, but it helped a bit too, because I haven't seen my father often. And the time we spent together at the archery range was special. So I was trusting him for a long time, and he always had a vision, but there wasn't any pressure. It was the process. Like, as it is said, the path is the goal. It was like that, and it is still. But he told me, when you will have enough of me, tell me, and we will end this. And I had, like, 2 years ago, I was thinking if it's not the time for change. But then I was asking myself, who should it be, the coach of archery? Because I know I wouldn't trust that much any other coach in Czech. So I should go to find somebody in abroad, and it won't be easy. And at the same time, I told myself that, hey, look, it works. You're still rising up. It's not on one line. And so I said, okay, we will work on our conversation during the competition. Also, I'm talking to my preparations. I'm talking about my feelings, about what I think that we should prove in the technique. I have my psychologist, so with her, I'm discussing everything about mental game. Also, my father is very good mental coach, because that's a huge part of archery coach too. And so it's still working. And also it ended up like that with gold medal. So I'm really happy that I could give him back all the passion or everything like he gave to me. With this, I can give him back. And also traveling, because we agreed that he won't come with me to every each competition. But he said, for sure, I want to see Korea, and for sure, I want to be at the Olympic Games, if you will take me. So I said, yeah, because it's some revenge for him.
And now Horachkova needs just an 8 to become champion of the world. Boom! She has done it! A 29 for a 6-0 win. And Marie Horachkova makes history for the Czech Republic.
Well, that's cool that you get to have that kind of thing keeping you really connected and seeing each other more often through archery. And I'm glad that it has worked out well and that hasn't been a stressor. Yeah. I was also curious, I saw in World Archery that it had you listed as a student. Are you still in school while you're training right now, or have you graduated?
I've done a bachelor degree, but I'm continuing in master's.
Okay.
So I'm still student. I should finish next year, but I think because of Olympics, I will prolong it. We'll see. That's from my mom. She was always telling me, hey, you have to have also a second career and you have to build this. School is important. She didn't believe that much that I could be professional archer, but that was my dream since ever. And I said that I will do it, and I did it. And it's, on the other hand, I like studying. It's maybe weird for somebody, but I'm studying sport education. The bachelor degree was pure sport, to become coach. And the masters are to become a teacher of PE and health education. Actually, I never wanted to be a teacher, but there wasn't any other option because I wanted to stay in my town and didn't want to travel to Prague, to capital city. To continue in the sport, pure sport education. At the same time, I got used to it or like it a bit. And I think to be a teacher is not a bad thing. And I'm experienced because I'm coaching also little archers in my club. So I'm used to working with kids, and sometimes it's taking energy out of me, but sometimes boosting. So it's also nice.
I think that sounds really good. I mean, not only is it like you or maybe your mom was also saying, a good career arc to have these other things you're doing, or other things you're working on, or other skills or passions or interests that you have. But as I've gotten older, personally, I felt that they really complement each other. Like the physical activity and the mental activity of archery combined with that of studying or other disciplines. I used to think that as a young student athlete, that they were getting in the way of each other. Like sports was taking away from study time. I liked both of them, but that maybe I could have been better in my studies if I didn't spend as much time on these other activities, and vice versa. Once I started doing more or really liking sports more, of saying, oh, well, these study, like I could be so much better if I didn't have these studies. And like, maybe technically those are a little bit true just in terms of the first year or two when you can devote a lot of time to archery or a lot of time to studying if you, I guess, eliminated one of them. But in the long term, there's so much like health and happiness and satisfaction that I feel like comes from the multitude of these life experiences and skills that I'm appreciating more now that I wish I had appreciated a bit more when we were training, or when we were at the Olympic Training Center and focusing so hard on archery and giving up a lot of these other things over a period of time. So I just want to, I guess, encourage you that I think those combination of things actually make everything better, even though it feels like sometimes they distract or can take away. And the periods of my life where I was doing both of those, I think I was at my happiest. I think it was just, that was the best version of my life, was when I was participating in a lot of things, studying, doing school, or doing archery or sports. And so I think that's really important for kids or for athletes to know, because we get so focused on the Olympics and competition and wanting to sacrifice and give up other things to be at our very best. But there's still a balance there that I think is healthier and has better chance of leading to the higher performances. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I agree. I think that keeping things well-rounded in your life and having that balance, not only in your shooting, having the balance between all the different variables, but also in life, having that balance is really helpful. But it does take work to keep that balance, because it's not easy, right? So do you have anything that's helped you, or any tips for people that are trying to balance study with competing at a high level? Anything that's worked for you that you could share?
I wanted to say, as you were mentioning, that everybody is so focused on the sport or on the Olympics when you're in some program or something. I wanted to say that sport way is a huge bet. And it's up to you if you give it everything. But on the other hand, you have to know it's not forever. Like one day it will end up. And you don't know the reason why it will end up. If you will have any injury, or if you won't be good enough to be in the team, because we know that there are many countries that it is really hard to get into the team. And then you should have something next that it will for sure keep you alive still. That it won't be like the day you will finish archery, even if you don't want to, and then you don't know what to do with yourself. And comparing study and sport is the easiest way. It's much more easier than comparing work and archery or some another sport. So if I could recommend something, if you want to and you have some passion in something you want to study, study that, because the study you can prolong in this world. I don't know how long you can study whole life. But you will always have something for the second career that will come. Of course, a lot of archers can become coaches, but not everybody is interested in. Many people has different brains that I totally don't understand any technical part of anything, but somebody else does. So that's good to work on. And also, when you have day off or a month off of archery, you have something to do, and it's sometimes good that it will help you when you don't have good time with archery. You can focus on something else and then go back to archery and refresh yourself. I would see it like that. But for sure, it's not easy to compare. And you have to say, well, this is time to do archery, this is time to do the school. And sometimes you have to balance that, well, now they are very important exams, so I have to pass this World Cup. I couldn't go, I can go. But it's like one World Cup. And also if you are come to the teacher and tell them, how are you, what are you doing, I think they will for sure understand. And there are a lot of scholarship programs for sport which are supportive. So I think there is a huge way to do this.
Yeah, that sounds really good. I think that it's very complex, this whole thing that we're trying to do. And I think that, again, we can get locked into thinking that, like, this is how it should be done, or this is how somebody else did it and they succeeded, so I need to follow that path. But in reality, it's everybody's very different in their life and their position with archery or anything else that's going on. And they need that kind of well-balanced, complex look at things to be able to, I think, create the best possible path for themselves, both in terms of their performance and enjoyment and happiness with it.
Totally.
Is it time to jump into some matches?
All right, so let's get it started here. All right, so first thing I think that everybody is curious about is the conditions, because it was crazy. It seemed like it was really windy, really rainy at times. So what is it like for this first match here as far as conditions?
Have to say the worst conditions were through whole week, and on the final day on Sunday, I told myself it's perfect. It wasn't warm weather, it was rainy but softly, and there was no wind or just a little bit. So like the conditions were kind of good.
Okay. So yeah, way better than before. Probably a lot easier than all the mental energy you probably had to do with all the other matches of fighting the wind and all that. So now, again, getting into it, quarterfinals of the World Championship and a Korean competitor. They're obviously very well known and respected and good shooters. And you said that you were focusing a lot ahead of this match in the 2 days between the other elimination matches and here, of just being comfortable, recognizing there's nothing to be afraid of here. It's just an archery match. So what are you thinking as you step up to the line here?
Oh, wow. I was preparing myself to the worst, if I say it like that. I thought it would be much more tough match, that 29 will be like the worst end, and we will share the set points. But the day when I woke up, I knew it's fine, and I told my boyfriend when he asked me, "Hey, how are you feeling?" During the practice, I told him, "Yeah, I'm connected." And the meaning of it is I'm connected with my head and body, and my body knows what I want. And my father told me that I never shot technically that well, and finally I was standing straightly, because we are fighting with this a lot. And I went just arrow by arrow and focused on myself.
Excellent.
And also, for sure, like taking first 2 set points boost you a lot. Then you don't want to lose a single one. So it was like that.
Excellent. So yeah, connectedness. I feel like that's not a word we've heard very much, but I definitely agree with the idea that it's like a connection of intention, mind and body, and target. Obviously, some of that could be reflected in the score, but not necessarily. Like, we just want to be dialing everything in as exact as we can, and yeah, that's, I would say, a lot of good mental preparation to be thinking about how you want to feel when you do step up to the line. and then
Yeah,
starting to
yeah.
help that become a reality.
Yeah, absolutely. It's working for me to also to live the emotions and all the stress and nervous feeling before, because I know how nervous I can be, and then just because of stupid shaking or something, and having the little monkey in my head, I'm dropping 7 or 8, and it's not necessary. So then I wanted just to like really be focused on myself, don't pay attention or anything else. And I had 2 points that I was focused on, and it was hold the grip on the riser, and then anchoring. And the last thing was finish the shot, because most, like a lot of mistakes when you're doing is that you're not finishing the shot at the right moment. That you finish the shot in your head, but the body is not finishing, and then you're dropping out of the yellow ring. So you have to finish all the process, and that's the most important and difficult thing.
Just as a question here, do you think your dad was nervous?
For sure. But he wasn't for sure. But we were both in very good mood. And usually when he's standing behind me, he's doing something with his legs, that he is stepping, or doing something with arms that like you can see that he's nervous. But this day, he said it that, well, I know that I wasn't that shaky, and it was good.
Nice, that's good. I'm sure it can be very challenging for parents to watch their children compete, but yeah, it both looked like you were both in tune and focused and managing everything very well. But to continue on your earlier point too, I think that's a great lesson for a lot of archers, is that when athletes are shooting well or performing well, I don't think it's like they have a checklist of 10 or 15 things in their head that they're going through every single thing. It's like 2 to 3 things where they're just like focus on these core movements, these core concepts, and this is leading the whole performance rather than all this little checklist of everything has to be perfect.
Because it's impossible to make all the checklist. You can do it at the practice, but in the competition, it's too much for the brain, and 1 or 2 things, that's enough.
Yeah. All right, so you're going through, you're focusing on, you said, your grip, your anchor, and then just the clear follow through or finish of the shot that you want. And you're keeping them in the yellow, and now you have a chance to close the match. Was there anything different on this arrow about your focus, or no?
Yeah. I think I also knew that I needed 10. And I told myself, hey, it's easy, you just need a 10. How many times you're shooting this? And so again, reset the mind just to focus on those 2 things and do the routine again. But when I draw it, I knew it will be a 10. So I was super happy that just not just winning the match, it came later, but that I could finish it. If you know what I can say, what I want to say, like finish the process.
Yeah, you always want to finish a match. Yeah, with your best shot, as far as you know how to do it, within that little margin of obviously some variation, but yeah, to be able to do that in a critical time, take advantage of the opportunities you were given or that were presented for you, and yeah, that excitement of feeling like you're maintaining the control and the focus that you want, even in a critical situation.
Plus, I went to this podium that I have nothing to lose. I can only have the advantage. I can only taking points. So I went there with this, and I think it made me less stressful and it ended up how it did. But it was special for each match, because this was the most important to go through. And then we realized that we have the Olympic spot, so it was more calm, or like not that much in pressure. But semis were that, okay, well, continue what you have begun, and we'll see how it will end up. At least you're shooting till the end. But I wanted to reset, because this was also the thing that I was fighting with also at the European Games, that you have another match after, and you have to quickly reset, forget about what you have done, and focus for the next one. And there is like 10 minutes. It can be a lot, but it can be not enough. When we started to shoot the semis, the Japanese girl had something that she had to redraw once more, and then it also somehow boosted me that he shot an 8. I remember that. And then I knew that I can do it, that I have some advantage. I cannot describe feelings or something, but it's something I'm saying. It is something over us, over humans, and I was feeling this. So
Yeah, so a couple good things I think you said that I think are important is that you described how it was you were feeling like there was nothing to lose. Like you were coming in like maybe the underdog a little bit against maybe the higher seeded Korean. But at the same time, there would be a lot of people in that position who would worry about the Olympic quotas and worry about the tall task or this mountain they are thinking they have to climb of beating a Korean athlete in the quarterfinals of the World Championship for an Olympic spot. So I agree with you that it's in some cases as simple as saying, let's go in with nothing to lose. Like let's go guns blazing, so to speak, or full throttle, aggressive. Let's just go after it. But that mindset switch is maybe not the easiest thing to do. And I'm curious if in the past you might have thought of it differently, and what do you feel like changed, or what advice would you give to someone who was really nervous in that match and thinking they had everything to lose as far as the qualification spots or the skill they would need to put on display to beat someone like that?
I think that's the most important thing, to give everything of those thoughts away, because you are there at that moment. Even if you win, even if you lose, I have something, one sentence that I'm talking to myself. Also during all the finals, I was telling this to myself, that I don't want to be disappointed by myself. I want to finish and don't have any single arrow that I will have to say, hey, Mari, you did this wrong. I want to be satisfied with all the arrows, and I'm a person who needs to have everything like almost perfect. So it's maybe why I was shooting like that, because I wouldn't be satisfied with 8. Also, there was a scene that I shot a 9 and I went back from the line and I was like, it's not that good, because I knew I could shoot a 10. But it's easy to say now. At the moment there, it's really important to give everything away from you and really be just with yourself, because who is else for you than yourself at the moment. And also you want to prove to your coach, to your country, to your friends, to your supporters, fans, that you don't want to disappoint them. But that's, if you have this in your mind, that's too much pressure. And for sure, I had it but before the Berlin began, 14 days. Also, Berlin whole week was till Thursday was stressful for me, because I needed to finish in the quarterfinals, doesn't matter taking medal or not, or the Olympic spot. But when you were asking me if I'm still student, I am, but I'm also part of sport resort here in Czech Republic, which is supporting all athletes. And I have, let's say, half contract that I'm earning few money, but that's just something as a part-time job. And at the beginning of the season, they tell you at which competition you have to be seated in which place. And I needed to be in the top 8 in Berlin. And after European Games, when I finished 5th, I needed to be in the top 3. And I had a call with my boss, and he asked me, hey, what you have done there? Why you're not in the top 3? And I said, well, but I was satisfied with the shooting, because at the time, I don't think that I made huge mistake, but I know that I was more nervous in that match than the previous one. But I'm satisfied with 5th place because it's fine. And he said, well, okay, it doesn't matter. Well, I hope you don't hear the thunder storm, which is coming here.
No, it's all right.
And then he finished the call with, okay, then doesn't matter, you have Berlin, so till top 8, okay, bye. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was resonating in my mind whole month.
Yeah.
Because I know if I wouldn't finish in top 8, I could be failed, kicked out from the resort. And had to start the job and become teacher and everything like that. So all the future for me mattered in Berlin. So that was the biggest pressure, but I totally forgot it when I came to Berlin, because I was enjoying the competition, enjoying the place, the people around, and I was really focused just on myself and on my performance. So you can have a lot of other stuff to think about, but at the moment, just like find the box here in the head, switch off and focus on the thing. We'll see. Fight at the moment.
Yeah, and I would presume just tell yourself, like, this is the reality I want to make. This is who I am. This is what I want to do. And obviously you don't have 100% control over everything that happens, but you're at that level already. So you had the ability to get into the top 8 in qualification, which is, like you said, a very big goal and a very big step that puts you a lot closer to your other goals in the way you finish the eliminations. And then after that, it sounds like, again, you were able to focus and say, I'm good enough. I've had the experience. I've learned a lot. I know I can do this, and just reinforcing more and more that I can make this a reality.
Your strategy can't change based on external pressures.
Yeah.
Anything that other people are putting on you is only a distraction from what you're trying to do and what your process is. So I think just shutting it out is all you can do and just go compete normally.
But maybe using it sometimes to motivate you, as far as like,
yeah, definitely could
refine the focus or sharpen the edge a little bit of your mental focus a little bit. But yeah, I mean, that's an intense story. We've heard other stories about athletes facing the same type of things. Like, it's a lot of the support of national governing bodies and training programs is contingent upon placement or maintaining rank or things like that. And it's not uncommon for athletes to be told that you need to finish a certain rank at this particular tournament or your funding is cut in some way. When we hear about stories about the Olympics or about World Cup or World Championship medals, often we don't hear about that because a lot of these athletes, they're performing at a level where it would seem a given that they're being supported. But archery fluctuates. Can be a roller coaster sometimes. And I mean, even looking at the Koreans, for example, like, you could say, oh, the Korean team's always good, but they're always having people change out. And for every particular athlete, that can be a very stressful arc of performance and needs to maintain the national team, maintain a certain stipend, maintain a certain job position, so to speak. So I do think that a lot of our pro staff and other athletes can understand and empathize with that of like, it's a challenge. And sometimes personally, I feel that coaches or administrators don't fully understand what they are asking of athletes in moments like that. But I think the athletes understand each other. And I think that means a lot to hear that there was a maybe undue amount of pressure or expectation kind of put upon this one particular tournament for you, but that you use it as best you could to refine your focus and visualize how you wanted to shoot.
Yeah, and on the other hand, it's like on a daily basis for all athletes, not just for archers. We have chose this way of life, so we have to take it and live with that and deal with that the best way we can. And it's normal. It's just like sport become a factory of superhumans. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can expect there to be just unconditional financial support for sure. There's a lot of, it's expensive to train for archery and to travel and to do all these things. And governing bodies have to allocate funds in the ways that are hopefully most efficient and fair based on how athletes are performing and how athletes are incentivized if they want to maintain a certain rank or be on a team or things like that. So it's definitely comes with the territory, I think, is another phrase that for me that comes to mind of like, we're competing. There's only so many spots. There's only so many medals, and that's okay. I'm excited. I want to use that as motivation. But yeah, sometimes it can be challenging too when you see or feel that maybe the support for continuing to perform can be lessened, because then you're capable, you're doing well, but if you don't have the chance to at least train a good amount of training part-time, then it can be even harder to achieve future goals. So yeah, it's very complicated, and I do think, again, a lot of pro staff will be able to take a lot from that story. One more thing you mentioned during this match, which I think is really valuable, you want to kind of make your country or your family or your teammates proud in terms of your performance, of finishing shots, of doing shots the way you know how, rather than the outcome. I think sometimes we think a little bit too much of, if I win or lose, their opinion of me will change a lot. Whereas there's a lot of matches I know I've been in where I was focusing on, I want to shoot the way I know how to shoot, and I want to finish shots really well. And sometimes you lose, but damn it, if I'm not going to shoot the way I want to shoot. So I don't know if that's, again, putting too much of my perspective on you, or if you would agree with that, or partially, as far as how you were approaching some of those matches.
Firstly, it was for me like finish the whole process of all the years of trainings. During the week, I was becoming like more and more confident. I don't know what was it, I cannot describe it. But the second thing was all the things that you have said, but it came after the winning. Also, I realized that more when I came back to Czech Republic, because it was like big boom, like really big boom in media, everything on all Instagrams, Czech team, like Olympic team. It was like very everywhere. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I like this a lot. Also, I could show archery in Czech Republic because it's really small sport here. But with tradition, but we're not supportive from government a lot. And I looked at it in the perspective of that if I see all other sports which are individual and which are smaller than other sports and which are not seen in television that much, that they have, all of them have one person which if you say, I don't know, snowboard crossing, judo, canoeing, rowing, that every Czech person has one or two athletes that, that's him, he's doing this. There are others like after him or her, but there was one the most successful, or the one who showed the sport in some way. And I told myself, well, that's you now showing archery. So now it's your job to spread archery in Czech Republic. So I'm really glad and happy for that, to have this ability.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's exciting to be able to communicate a sport that you love and have grown up with most of your life, and that you recognize that there's a beauty to it in terms of the ups and the downs and the challenges and the successes, and to be able to have more people excited and sharing in that, and not just the sport itself, but the idea of performing well and of success, I think can be really infectious for people, because I don't know, life is complicated and we go through a lot of different things, but it's very exciting and motivating for people to feel like they can be a part of something, like they can be successful as well. So that's really awesome that you're able to bring that now to kids, to other people in the Czech Republic, to your friends and family, I'm sure. Yeah, that's really, really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm jealous. I wish I was the one archer that everybody knew.
You know, it's never too late.
True. It is never too late, but I don't know if I have the drive to put in that level of training again, but we'll see. You never know.
Well, at the same time too, I would say in a roundabout way, I think both Josh and I and Maddie as well are very competitive. And even though we're not shooting as much anymore, I feel like there's an element of that intensity that we try to bring to the company and the way we do things that's very focused on the process, that's very focused on improvement, that's very focused on what is the best we can imagine doing and how do we put that together as quickly and well as possible. So I think for me, this is still an extension of my desire to be the best in the world at shooting, is how good can we make products? How good can we interact with athletes? How much value can we give to customers or to archers or things like that? So different evolutions of life, I suppose. But as far as competition, I still do miss that. I've gotten a little more of an itch for it lately. So we have a little shop here, so we'll have to do a little bit more shooting and hopefully go to some local tournaments again.
And on the other hand, we can say that you have found your second career after shooting, and you're doing this the best way you can, and you're still in touch with the sport. And just like maybe thank you with the words of all archers that you're doing this, because it's awesome.
Sure.
And like the company you have built works very nicely. The products are awesome. Like I was shooting with, I would say, similar products, stabilizers, but then I tried yours and I said like, well, I thought it can be better, but it was. And I'm not saying this just because we're on the video, but it really was the feeling. So just wanted
Sure.
to say thank you.
No, for sure. We definitely appreciate that. We work a lot of times in our little office in our shop here, and we work with each other, and we have a lot of combined history because we all had shot at the U.S. Olympic Training Center for 5 years together. So we have a lot of that built up knowledge, but a lot of it too is connecting with athletes today. And as we make products and need them to be tested, of getting the feedback of athletes who are currently competing and currently at the prime of skill and strength and ability. But it's always exciting to hear feedback and understand good, bad, or neutral, like what we can do better, what we should keep doing. But there is a lot of it for us that we look at these products and go, is that something I would have trusted going into the Olympic trials? Is that something I would have trusted would give me the best advantage of everything I know how going into the Olympic Games or the national championships or any other tournament? And I think we've made good improvements, but there's always room to improve. But it's exciting to see what we feel like is more and more refined stabilizer products that hopefully allow athletes to go into a tournament and feel like they are more connected with their bow and their shot than they were previously.
Yeah, I think many athletes can feel that, and that's why more and more archers are using RamRods.
Well, you guys are making us look good.
Yeah. We feel like we're doing the easy part now. You guys are out there doing all the winning. All right, so second finals match. Again, starting off with just the basics of conditions, it looks pretty much the same, right? There's not a lot of rain and wind that I can see. And how soon after your first match was this? Like, was it 10 minutes or like a half hour?
It was one match. I don't know. I can't say in minutes, but I had a break of one match. So
Okay, just one match. So maybe only like 15, 20 minutes at most.
yeah.
All right, so you're back on here. You've switched sides, right? You were on the A target for the first match and now on the B target. So again, is there any particular thoughts or feelings that are different from the first match of the day?
One of the pressure went out because we realized we're going to Olympic Games. But then I said, hey, I was shooting well, everything's fine, so why do not do it again? Then also, of course, I knew that I will shoot on the other target. There was one camera really close to the archer, so it was just, hey, know about that, but don't pay attention on it. And it was, I don't know. At this match, I could choose if I wanna shoot first or second. So my favorite option is to start. So that maybe was something also boosting myself that I have this advantage. But then I was just continuing what we began.
Yeah.
And there you see your opponent kind of having a real jerky letdown and starting over. And you were saying that kind of felt like a little bit of a momentum shift where things are maybe more in your favor this match.
No. It was when like you don't see like I didn't see the Japanese archer, but I was feeling that somebody is not getting well. Then I was feeling that she has to put the bow down and draw it again. So I was also excited about the time because she was drawing on 9 seconds or something. And then I was like, wow, 8 is just perfect, a perfect hit. But at the same time, I was feeling some of advantage at that end.
Okay.
And then I think the second and I shot 30 and my father was showing me those videos, so I'm not seeing them for first time but second one. And the second end there is nice face of a Japanese coach that maybe he can't believe that I'm shooting the way I was shooting.
Yeah. Yeah, well, again, they were probably expecting that if they won, they might have faced the Korean archer, and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
Marie is the one who emerged from this match, and then you're dropping 29s and 30s on their archer and going, oh my gosh, how long is she going to keep this up? But speaking a little bit to momentum or to feeling the mood or the confidence of another archer, we kind of asked everybody in these matches if they do sense that, if they pay attention. Some people, they kind of tune it out. They kind of focus on themselves, even if they are facing the other archer and can see them and the pacing and the confidence with which they're shooting. I always felt like it was very perceptible to me as a competitor to pay attention to how my competitor is, their body language, their mood and things. So it's very interesting for me to hear that even on the first arrow with your opponent at your back, that you're sensing advantage and you're sensing that you want to keep it up and be more aggressive.
Yeah. That's I think this is also something untouchable, but it is there in archery, and it's also part of the elimination game, and that's just the mental game, and that's up to you how it affects you. If something is boosting you, or if you feel something from the opponent, how he or she is feeling, that you can feel that the person is not at that good feeling or not that much confident. All this you can a bit feel, and then you can somehow work with that. You can boost yourself, or you can be the one who is a bit afraid, and that's the thing, like, to hide it a bit. Like, you should be you should have poker face or something like that, just to not show to the opponent how are you feeling. If you not have a good day, you still should behave normally, or
Yeah. Yeah, definitely don't give your opponent an advantage by showing frustration, showing lack of confidence. Like, even if it's there, that's going to make them feel a little more relaxed and comfortable and maybe help their performance. So, I mean, you don't have to. Yeah, yeah, that face.
He's like, what the heck?
He's like, she's only shot 1-9. But yeah, I think it's important as a competitor, because we see that sometimes, and I understand it can be frustrating if you're not on your best. But again, the match isn't over till it's over, so always keep fighting and keep showing that next arrow is going to be a 10, next end's going to be a 30. That's my mentality.
yeah. And I'm also saying to myself, hey, now you have 10 minutes of work, or 15, or how long it takes, and then you can rest, you can do whatever you want to, you can cry, you can jump with your happiness, everything. But then at this moment you have to be professional, you have to focus on yourself and give away everything around. Sometimes it's like the worst thing to fight with something which is in you, like inside. It's easier to put away everything what is around, but what is inside, which is not good, or which is good, but the good things, the confidence that you have too much, it's also not always helpful, and that's the most difficult thing to deal with. Something what is happening in the person, which is hidden, and you have to read yourself to be familiar. You know what I mean.
Just like familiar, like your knowledge of yourself and
knowledge
and
of
things.
yourself. Yeah. Thank you. And that's process of whole life, and also the things that happening to you next to archery can help you in progress at the eliminations or at the match.
Yeah. Archery, for a long time, I felt that it's kind of a reflection of life, and like the way you train, the decisions you make is a reflection of yourself a lot. And obviously we would all like to be winning and beating everybody else, but we don't have control of that all the time, because there's a lot of great shooters out there and there's only one top of the podium at every tournament. But I mean, there's so many little decisions, so many little things that we can do along the way about how that determine, I guess, how we experience archery. And that is all based upon, I guess, our choices, our experiences, what we choose to try to amplify as a part of ourselves, and what we choose to say, try and push the doubts away, or push the bad habits away, so to speak. So yeah, there's a lot of internals, I guess, as far as what's going on inside an archer that can have an effect on what we see. And I think it's exciting for us to watch a lot of archery now, because we've been around it so long that I love to watch the body language of archers, because to me it's very subtle, because a lot of times you are kind of trying to be a little stoic or hide frustration or weakness or lack of confidence sometimes. But there's so much there that I think good media or good photography or good tournaments can bring out. And it really wraps people into the excitement of it, because they see that even though we're just shooting at the same 10 ring all the time, there's so much going on. There's a whole story below the surface of just the same kind of archery strategy. So yeah, exciting for us to be able to view all that and to dig into it. But yeah, all right. So you finished up this match. This was probably one of your easier matches so far. Your opponent looked like they may have scored a 28 on the last end, but you already had 29, 30, 29. So very, very strong shooting, 7 10s, 2 9s out of those 9 arrows. So now you're in the gold medal match. And again, is there anything kind of leading up to this that feels different? There's 2 archers left, just you and Alejandra. Is this same strategy, or is it different?
It was again different because it was new one, and I thought when I won the semis, I was like, well, that's it, it's done, nothing else. That I was surprised it went so softly, but I was confident a lot, and I really wanted to win it. That's my sister.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to the tent and saw Alejandra, we both were cheering for each other and said like, "Hey, that's perfect." He was super happy. She was smiling, and all the positive energy was going out of her, and it was. Maybe I don't have the words, but it was so nice to meet her, to be with her, because I know how good archer and good person she is, but we haven't speak much before. But you could feel from her the positive energy, and she was super happy. And we told each other, "Hey, we have medal, so just let's go and enjoy it." Doing quarterfinals, like on Thursday, when we went to photo shooting, we told each other, "Hey, see you in gold final." And I had crossed fingers for her too. But when we were prepared and it was counting down the seconds before we are walking to the stage, I told myself, "Hey, but gold is gold, you know."
We're friends. This is cool. We're enjoying this, but I still do really want to crush you.
Exactly. But in a good way.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
a sport.
Friendly competition.
Yeah. And I told myself, well, you're there, but you can finish it. And I was also expecting really high match, which it was. But then when I was leading 4-0, and then there were 3 arrows, and Alejandra dropped 1-8. And then I had 2 10s, I guess. And then I remember, like the last arrow I remember, because I took a few more seconds than before throwing the ball. And my father told me after the competition, "Hey, like I was so nervous because I told you, hey, let's go, keep straight, focus. And you were standing. And what you were doing there, you were just standing." And I was like, "Hey, you have only 20 seconds, just shoot." But he couldn't make anything with that. And I needed 1-2 more seconds for my head to tell myself that I know I have it in my hands and yellow ring is enough. But you know how it goes in those situations. Or I don't know what was it, but I thought that I need a 9. So then I refresh again the mind that, hey, just shoot to be satisfied with that. And when I draw it, I knew it will drop there, but it wasn't like perfect shot. But I know it's flying to the gold, and I just made myself sure if really it is just to watch the screen, and then it was like, wow, I don't know what I did. I just know my head felt off. I don't know why, because I know I didn't hit my ball, my arm, anything with my head, but my hair went like with the kinetic energy.
Yeah. Spun
So
around.
there are very nice pictures with that.
Yeah, so okay, so yeah, end of the second end. Alejandra lets one out a little bit to the right, and you have a 10 and a 9, so you only need a 9 to close out the second end. Was there was there any wind? I saw you guys had opened up on the right side of the target. I didn't know if you had made any adjustments.
I think I made a little, but the wind wasn't strong, so I
Okay.
was still aiming to the middle.
Okay. And then yeah, good finish there, and I can see that you're not satisfied with the shot, but not mad or beating yourself up either. And again, you just needed a 9, but you obviously want to get a 10. You want to shoot a great shot, get it in the middle, kind of send a message that I don't want to just win by 1 point. I want to shoot 10s every time. So now you said, yeah, getting into the last or the third end here, you're up 4-0, and you're shooting second. And I guess we'll see exactly what Alejandra opens up with. Oh yeah, so a little bit of wind, but almost nothing here. All right.
Yeah, I have it with the wind like that. If it's not that strong, if you're shooting nicely and releasing nicely, it will hit the 10 ring. Like it won't be X maybe, but for sure gold ring.
Yeah. We've definitely seen some archers too get a little too wrapped up in trying to play the win game and aim perfectly where they think everything's going to happen, and then end up just being outside the 10 just a little bit. All right, so Alejandra opened up with a low 8. That's got to make you feel good as far as confidence that you can keep sticking them in the yellow. And yeah, a 10 to open up.
Yeah, my face is like a killer. I'm not.
Well, yeah, you're
hypnotizing
focused.
myself.
You're in tune with what you want to do. And again, it's not just I really want this arrow to be in the 10 ring and I really want to win the match, or I really want to be a world champion. It's I want to feel the shot that I want. And yeah, two solid 10s.
My gosh. Absolutely crushed.
And that's even with Alejandra shooting a 10 on her second arrow, so just a great response. And she finishes with a 9, which is good, but not great.
And 8 to win the world championships. How often do you get that? Oh, you just got to shoot an 8 and you win the whole thing.
But I thought I need 9. I didn't know 8 is enough.
Yeah. And a great shot just off the 10.
Yeah.
Great group. And now we see some emotion from your dad.
He's like, I was holding this in all day.
But he won't admit that he cried or something.
I think there's video evidence here. I don't know.
It was such a big happiness also from Alejandra. It was, wow, undescribable. Like, she's so strong, but so nice person. She also can value the opponent, or how to say that. She was really happy with having medal, and I was feeling that she. I'm sorry. It's like I'm kind of losing words.
No, it's complicated, and I think every archer who's had to compete against friends and had to compete against teammates, you want the best for them and for yourself at the same time, but we're in a position where you can't both have everything all the time. And it very easily, could have been Alejandra who had won and you who had gotten silver, and you both would have still been very excited for each other and still had amazing finishes for the tournament. But it's complicated. I know that there were plenty of times where, again, whether it's making a team or finishing on a podium or something like that, where you're just like, you've done everything you wanted, and yet you feel bad for everybody else, for everybody who, is performing well and deserves it almost just as much as you, or maybe more than you in some cases. And it's a very complicated feeling. I don't know really how to describe it either, but
Yeah, it is. And also, archery is, as you said, complicated in this, that we are comparing individual and also team sports together, and that's not easy also for psychologists to help us in this, because at the same time you have to compete together, support each other, but still you have to think about yourself, because the second one won't give you the medal. You will have it. And it is really difficult also in the strong teams where you're fighting for the 3 spots to just compete at the World Championships. And yeah, this is not easy in archery.
So yeah, very, very complex feelings that I'm sure we all feel at some point or another, but I'm sure are very heightened with a big tournament and a huge finish, like the gold medal match of a World Championships. But it gives me a lot of appreciation for archery and for you and Alejandra, that you're willing to show that, willing to show that you do care for each other and you support each other, and that it's a hard position to be in. And again, we don't get very many opportunities like this in our lives. So it's exciting to see the competition as a spectator. But it makes me feel a lot better about archery, seeing athletes who show their emotions and show the complexity of it, rather than, again, be stoic, kind of don't give anything away, just kind of walk off the stage and say, oh, well, could have had it on to the next one. It's like, there's so much more there. There's so much more of our lives and our passion for the sport and our experience with each other and relationships that's wrapped up into this. So to me, it gives me a lot of respect and appreciation for Alejandra as well, and watching her more in the future and rooting for her as well. So it's, again, it's not easy. I don't know if that even fully describes a lot of it, but yeah, it's a special moment, I guess I would say.
Yeah, special moment is nice words. Yeah.
My last question for you, Marie, if you don't mind, is, with this being your first big win, and now having taken a little bit of a break from shooting, having time to reflect and have to tell us and a bunch of other people this whole experience and story of how everything went down, is there any top lesson or thing that you learned from this event that you feel like really stands out and has you prepared for whatever comes your way next? Probably the Olympics, right? That's probably the next big one.
That's true. That's the big one. I am not taking this as that something finished. I am taking this that it opened gates for the future, and looking forward to show something else, to be experienced with some other big events, other nice matches with, as you said, friends or other great archers, which I appreciate that I can shoot next to them, because I have few archers as iconic for me, but at the same time, at the moment you're shooting against them, if happens this, you have to focus on yourself. The experience, what gave me the most, maybe for sure standing or shooting at the podium, because it's special and it's not happening every event. Yeah, and it's just boosting me and showing me, it opened also my mind again, because a few barriers are crossed, and the way is open for the future. So I'm excited, and I want to continue in the path that I have started.
Well, you should be proud of yourself, and we're super happy for you and proud of you. And you put on a show. I know you mentioned at a couple points that you were expecting maybe a little bit more resistance, but you should be proud of the way you shot, because no matter what the resistance was, those 29s and 30s were up for the challenge. So any closing thoughts, Joe?
Well, too, just that sometimes the best ends are actually kind of easy. Like, I mean, not that this was an easy matches or tournaments or anything, but sometimes we associate performing really well or shooting a 29 or a 30 as I have to try so hard. Like I have to do it specifically and deliberately. But sometimes, I mean, you could call it the flow state a little bit. You could call it just focusing on yourself and your finishes and letting the performances happen a little more naturally. But yeah, I mean, Resistance, presumably they were trying just as hard or maybe even working harder than you to try to put the arrows in the 10, but they weren't. And you were shooting maybe a little bit easier, maybe a little bit more flow, a little bit better focus. And the arrows were going well. And it felt easier than you expected to win each end or to win each match, which is something we really can't predict. But I think the lesson I take away from that is that sometimes, again, the best performances can be easier than we expect and maybe more fun and enjoyable too.
That's true.
But yeah, so one thing I definitely want to do before we finish up is we've talked a lot on some of our longer time interviews ago, but not on the more recent podcasts, about how people set up their stabilizers. Because I think we know as athletes or as archers that a lot of times we can change our equipment a lot. And we're playing with things, we're trying to get a little feeling here, we're playing with V-bar angles or weights or things like that. So I definitely wanted to take these opportunities when people podium at a World Cup or World Championship to ask them how they set up their stabilizers or what their specs currently are, at least for this moment in time, kind of as a snapshot, knowing that they might change it in the future. But I'm curious, I saw you were shooting vector stabilizers. What lengths are you shooting for front rod and side rods?
Yeah. Vector, and the front one is 30. I don't know how is that. It is 30.
Yeah,
and
30 inches. That quote
inches.
is our
Thank you.
abbreviation for inches. Yeah,
inches. Thank you. And the sides are 13.5 inches.
Okay.
And I have the adjustable V-bar. So I have them not like straight ankle, but a bit down.
Sure. If I just ballparking, it looks like you had maybe like a 40-degree out and then maybe like a
that.
5 to 10 degree down. Did that look about
35.
close?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
3-inch aluminum extension. Okay. And about how much weight do you like to put on the front rods versus side rods?
Actually, I don't have many comparing to other archers, but that's somehow enough for me. I have in front 3 weights and on the back 2 on each stabilizer.
Plus those dampers, right? So yeah, not super heavy, but again, it's complicated. We do this every day and we don't know exactly how it all works still. Athletes definitely set up things very differently, but obviously it seems to be working well for you. Your shots seem pretty solid. It didn't seem like it was super hard to hold up the bow or to finish the shot cleanly and well. So I think that there's lessons that can be taken from that. You don't need 12 ounces on every stabilizer to hold very steady.
Yeah, that's true.
Definitely individual kind of taste and preferences, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I was trying to have more weights, but it's too much for me.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but maybe with the long front stabilizer plus the 3 inches on the beginning of the stabilizer. I don't know. Maybe that's the vectors which are working somehow, the gravity and everything. That's how it works for me.
Sure.
It's getting the job done. We just saw proof of that.
But yeah, that sounds really good. And again, it's information for us to understand how athletes are using it. I think a lot of times it's good to go back to the basics, something that's kind of middle of the road that seems to work well for a fair amount of people, and not get too invested in really long or really short or really front heavy or really back heavy. And then from there, maybe make some little tweaks. But the way I like to think about it too is there's a reason that the collective competitive athletes or industry or totality of all the archers out there have kind of gravitated towards certain systems, is because it's been tested with millions and millions of arrows shot, And it'll continue to evolve and refine its understanding, but that's the best we all collectively know right now as far as how to set up a bow.
And I think that I can sympathize with your opinion that the basics are the best, and maybe just a small differently from the basic is like the best option. You have to try it, but I would recommend not try too much, because then you're in a circle and you don't know what works for you. But yeah, we can see a lot of archers which their setup is really rare or not that much common. I know that I have one of the less weights than others. Also, girls has much more weights on their stabilizers, but yeah, it is how it is. And that's archery also, because you never find two same setups on the bow. It's related on the person, how we have built our muscles, all anatomy and everything, and then comes the feelings of the shooting. So that's a bit of alchemistic work.
Yeah, it's complicated, but yeah, again, it's cool too, because it allows the athlete to have an expression of their strategies, their personality into their equipment in ways that maybe other sports don't get as much opportunity to.
That's true. So, and thank you for doing that.
Sure. Yeah. No, yeah, we again appreciate your time, and thank you for coming on with us. And that's a lot of good information that every podcast we come away with some very valuable things that, even though we've been in archery for a long time, hearing different athletes' perspectives, sometimes we get caught in a little kind of narrow scope of what's happening in the US or what's happening at a training center or what were we used to when we were shooting. But there's so much more information out there on equipment, on mental game, on philosophy and approaches. And it's very healthy and exciting for us to hear and talk to athletes as well, because we learn a lot, and we hope all our viewers learn a lot as well.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting. It was really nice talking to you.
Likewise.
And hope to see you soon.
All right, thanks everyone for watching. I'm Joe Fanchin, this is Josh Smith, and we just got off with special guest Marie Harashkova, who just won the World Championships in Berlin.